So we're going to solve these quadratics, but this time what we're going to do, instead of yesterday's, we're going to use the quadratic formula. We've got an example where I'm choosing one that has got a positive, even though I've just rubbed it out, a positive b value, and one where I've got a negative b value. So you need to remember that these equations, this one's got a 1 in front of it. Remember, if there's no number there, it's a 1. Same with this one over here. And you remember that these formulas follow the rule ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so remember that means that my a value is 1, my b value is positive 3, and my c value is negative 2. And all I need to do to solve this is just sub it into the equation. And the equation is always on your formula sheet. This year and next, you won't have any trouble with that. You don't really need to remember it. The only thing that can go wrong, which we'll see in the next example, is if you've got a negative b value. That's usually where it falls apart. So let's do a positive one. And we are going to answer this because your test will probably tell you that you either need to answer this in exact form or surd form. Both mean the same thing. It means don't hit equals on your calculator and get an irrational number with lots of decimals. So just start writing out the formula, but when you see the b, turn it into a 3. And when you see the b in the square root, even though it doesn't matter for this positive number, just get in a habit of putting it in brackets so that when you tackle one that's got brackets, you don't, a negative, you don't get confused. All right, all over 2 times 1. So I've just taken those a, b, and c values and subbed them in. And now what I'm doing is I'm just solving what's underneath the square root sign. So I'm going to go in, and depending on how confident you feel with your steps, 3 squared's 9, and then with BODMAS, okay, and then my multiplication, minus 4 times 1 times minus 2 leaves me positive 8, and then 2 times 1 leaves me 2. All I need to do now is solve what's left in the square root, which is 9 plus 8, 17, all over 2. And that's my final answer. Alrighty? Let's shift into a negative one, and even the people who've got the slight have a chats up the back need to concentrate on this one for me so we're in the same zone. Remember, I've got an a value, I've got a b value. Please note that the b value is a negative number this time around, and I've got a c value of positive 5. I've got the same formula. X is minus b plus or minus the square root of, in brackets, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And let's sub in. This time x is going to be, now watch this closely, because b is a negative number. If I've got minus, remember this says minus 1 times b, okay? So I've actually got a positive 7 out the front, okay? Plus or minus, and then you've got to be careful not to get caught a second time. I've got minus 7 squared, okay? Minus 4 times 1 times 5, all over 2 times 1. And now I'm just busying myself solving this. So I've got x, out the front I've got 7, plus or minus, and then in my square roots, negative 7 squared is 49, negative 4 times 1 times 5 is minus 20, all over 2. All I've got left now is 7 out the front. I'll solve what's underneath the square root sign. It stays over 2. And those are my 2 answers, okay? Remember, there are 2 answers to these. So that means that this plus or minus gives me 2 potential outcomes. Remember, there will be some cases, just while you guys are still with me, where the discriminant, 29, will either be a number that will be 0, okay, and that means there'll only be 1 solution to it, or it will be a negative answer where we've got no solutions to x, okay?